Hi everyone, and welcome to Game Plan, the podcast where we sit down with young athletes and ask them what it really means to live, breathe, and grow with the sport. Whether you're chasing a career in it or just looking to enjoy it more as a fan, we're here to explore the stories, the struggles, and the small moments that make every sport more than just a game. I'm Snow, and let's dive in. So today we have Kyle, Yao Yusong. We're high school classmates. We both graduated from the same high school, and welcome, Kyle.
Hi.
Say hello to your fans.
Hi.
Hi, Kyle. So could you please do a little self-intro?
Yeah, sure. So I'm now a junior at UNC Chapel Hill. I study data science and statistics. So before I come to UNC, I'm actually a transfer student from a university in Beijing. I used to be a student athlete for more than 7 years, excluding like my experience in elementary school and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So I have a question. So what's your highest competitive level in terms of in the Chinese soccer system? Like, what's your biggest achievement?
So the highest level game that I played is 全运会, which is like the biggest game in China, and I represent Beijing to play against like other province.
Okay. In terms of professional soccer player, in what level are you in? Like, can you elaborate on the Chinese soccer categories and hierarchies, and kind of elaborate which level are you in?
Well, in terms of the levels, I think there's like the pro level and like semi-pro, like playing the secondary league in China, and there's like school level, like student athlete level, and the rest are just play for fun.
Okay.
And I would say I'm student athlete level, like maybe somewhere between semi-pro or student athlete, but yeah. Beihang University was like the best soccer school in China, and they are playing like in the 中冠 level. So, but just for your information, there's like another school, another university, Beiligung, and they're kind of like maybe they're like a little bit better than Beihang, but I mean they want to play in 中甲, and they can compete in 中乙, I guess, in a competitive way. Yeah.
So did your family and friends support your dream back at high school?
Like as a athlete or as a student athlete stuff?
Yeah, as supporting your possibility of being a professional player.
Okay, so when I was in high school, both my parent and I both think that like there's like zero chance for me to play professional. So we kind of have a very specific goal. I just trying to enjoy soccer and use soccer as some sort of some sort of way to get into the college and stuff. Yeah, and I'm pretty satisfied with that. Yeah.
Cool. So let's talk about the youth system that you were in. How was it like? Was it competitive? And tell our audience more about it.
The U system?
Yeah, the Sangal system.
Sangal. Okay. So when I was in Sangal, we're just like the normal student. We have like classes from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and we play soccer like after class. So from like 4 to 6 or whatever, we have like only one training per day, which is kind of different than the professional schedule. But so comparing to like the professional level, I think the greatest difference between us is like they have like better coaches. I mean, like in terms of their background, maybe they're like they're from like super good soccer clubs or whatever. And besides coaches, they have like a very comprehensive comprehensive support system， 他们的后勤保障做得很出色。不光是教练层面，他们还有比如说像是队医、心理保障，或者是各种各样的，就是当然是跟那些最好的那些职业俱乐部相比，但我们呢可能只有教练，我们的训练资源可能只有教练，然后队医的话可能是整个学校只有1个2个，像那样，剩下就其他都是老师啊，就比如说你有什么疑问或者有什么也只能跟老师去进行倾诉，然后这个是我们在接受这种足球的训练上最大一个区别吧。然后在竞技层面的话，我觉得就是我们小升初可能初1到初3左右，我们跟职业俱乐部的竞技水平没有什么太大的差距，真正的差距是在后面一点一点拉开的。大概到了高1，我们可能作为学生球，作为 student athlete 可能就没有办法去跟职业进行竞技了。就比如说我们可能处于一个开踢之前就已经是就是胜率可能是3-7那种感觉的。对，我们会赢，可能会赢，但是大概率还是差距会比较明显。
Okay. Such difference or such gap is kind of started from high school because you guys are more like student athlete, kind of focusing on your coursework and spend more time on the study.
Yeah.
Well, those pre-pros, they're kind of like 100% all into soccer career. Is that right?
I mean, because in China we have like 9-year compulsory education, so like in middle school, like after 6th grade, I mean these this so-called professional player, they also have coursework to do, but I mean they're not trying to be a student athlete or whatever in the future, so they maybe are not as invested, as committed as us. So yeah, they definitely put like 80%, 90% of their energy into soccer training, and like the rest are just for study or for fun. Yeah.
So how was the training like? Was it hard? Was it challenging? How is it?
I say it's really challenging. So we train 6 times a week, and like we only have 1 training per day. So our coaches are really pushing us to the limit. We have probably like two training to go into the gym and do the weightlifting stuff, and probably 1 to 2 training for the where we have a game, the practicing game, maybe against within ourselves or against other team, and the rest are just normal practices, but also really arduous and stuff.
Do you think or do you recommend other kids to go to your system that you were in to practice soccer? Because we all know it's a pretty challenging process, and a lot of people doesn't really like get into the professional soccer career life. So what's your comment on that? Like, would you recommend others like doing the same thing that you did?
Well, I would say although it's like really hard, but I think it's a rewarding process, because to me soccer is not just something I rely on for getting into college or whatever. It's more like it's because I really love playing soccer, and I think that playing soccer we're in the process of all those training and stuff. It really cultivates something in me, like in terms of resilience or confidence, and there's a lot of things that like you cannot get just from like studying in the high school or whatever. So, but if I have to give recommendation, I would say if you children or if you are really interested in soccer, then you can try such a way. But like if your interest that is lies in other stuff, then maybe not getting into this hard way. Yeah.
So you said you started playing soccer since the second grade,
Yeah.
which you were like 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah,
at that
7 or 8.
So do you think is it so when should kids start to play soccer if they really want to be like a professional player in the future? Is 7 or 8 a little bit late, or when do you think is the best time for them to start playing?
So for professional player, I would definitely recommend getting into soccer training like way earlier. Like maybe like in maybe like 4 or 5. I say because if I'm kind of late, like in terms of getting into the soccer training stuff, 7 or 8. It's uh, I always receive the feedback from coaches that uh, in terms of my 基本功, in terms of my like maybe I'm not like as solid as other player, which maybe like start early than me. So I think that would definitely be important. And so for me, like in my elementary school, I was like playing soccer, I was playing basketball, I was also doing swimming and stuff, like before the 5th grade. So so soccer to me was merely a something for fun, like before the 5th grade. So if you want to play pro, if you want to play professional, then definitely you gotta like lock into the soccer like in an early stage.
So let's say if you have a kid in the future, maybe like in the next 10 years, will you put your kid into a professional career path?
Well, I would like maybe not soccer. I would try to find like what sports is he like interested in. I think that interest is like the primary stuff for a kid to succeed or whatever. But I would definitely want my kid to do a sport, at least one, because I know that it can help us to build a lot of stuff.
So if you could say like one thing to your younger self, what would it be?
Say one thing to my younger self, I guess. Well, maybe work even harder on soccer. Like I was that kind of guy like put put too much in terms of the schoolwork instead of like doing that extra training after each training session. So I would say I'm kind of regret that I didn't do that. Maybe I can achieve more. So if I want to, if I would say to my younger self that like try harder in terms of soccer. Yeah, maybe something like that.
Cool. Lastly, do you still play now?
I play like in a Chinese soccer club. It's yeah.
So how soccer changed for you now that it's not your career goal?
So like before I came to UNC, I was a student athlete and like training six times a week, and right now it was like a casual stuff. It was like merely for fun, and I really enjoy it because I got a bunch of friends who like also interested in soccer, and they're really nice to me. And I mean,
Is it more fun for you
is it
now?
more fun?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, soccer in any way just uh, I would say like it was equally fun, and yeah, I mean it's just different. Like when I was a student athlete, maybe I'm like the average, maybe even though I can play in the starting lineup, maybe, but I just feel like I'm like the average one. But like when I'm here, I can finally got some sort of like leading the team stuff, and yeah, I say that that's different.
Okay. So after playing both like in China and in the States, kind of like Western systems, do you find any difference for like in these two countries of playing soccer? And what's your point? What's your attitude towards such difference?
Well, in terms of soccer, I think there actually not that big difference from China and United States, because like in China, if if you want to play like if you want to get into a college, you want to play as a student athlete, then there's like zero chance for you to go professional. And I think that's kind of the same for the soccer system in United States. So besides that, I think the biggest difference between United States and China is like how should I put it? It's like how university treat the student athlete. Like when I was in China, I used to be a student athlete in a university. So I mean these universities are just giving the student athlete the minimum resources in terms of academic. Like take me as an example. I don't got to choose my own classes, and all of our student athlete like basketball player, badminton player we're just in the same class, and they pick the class for us, and we cannot like change major or pursue like anything special in terms of academic. So I would say like that is really really bad for a Chinese university to do that. There's like a lot of talented student athlete, maybe like not only in their professional career as a player, but like also they can also excel in like academic, but it's kind of unfair for them to treat them like that. But I get it because there are like so many student athletes in China who are maybe not that good in terms of academics. But like comparing to the school in the States, I mean the student athletes are just like the stars. They gotta pick the classes way before the normal student, and they have like actual resources if they come to if they participate some kind of games and didn't attend lectures for some of their classes. Maybe like they have actual resources, they have tutor, they have like maybe professor will even give that actual lecture. So I think that is the biggest difference. Yeah.
And finally, so what's your game after graduation, which is about a year after?
What's my game? What's my
What's your
plan?
plan, your career as a non-athlete?
As a non-athlete, well, yeah. I'm just. I mean, I'm like doing this data science and statistics stuff. I'm just like a normal student, so maybe I'll go to the grad school and find a find a job in a city that I enjoy. Yeah,
Cool. Thank you, Gal. Thank you for doing the podcast with us.
yeah. You're welcome.